The Conference of the Iron Princes has been concluded and Logan Seeger has been accepted and backed as the adopted heir of Nicholas Trogg. Margot Struben, responsible for the coup, has been imprisoned. Hans Upman lies in a magical sleep, bound by an unknown woman with connection to the Fae and an obsession with the Council. Logan now serves as the Iron Prince, but without lands, wealth, or any real power beyond the Accord of the Iron Princes. Freeburg's future, as ever, is uncertain.
We're live.
So we close in, once again, circling like a sun-blind owl over the city. Except this time we dive down and we look into the southernmost district of the city. A district in which a lot has happened lately, between the assassination attempts and the near explosions, the destruction of the bridge, which is certainly close enough to put the people of Feinhearth on edge, as well as gunshots on the other side. This after um, the blossoming of a tree out of part of the ground, and um, there's a very hard at work captain doing his best to reassure everyone in the wake of those things. And Hans has certainly had the highest reputation of any captain that's ever served in Feinhearth, like by a measure. Like just to sort of like put things into some perspective, if you have reputation caps out at 130, but from like 90 to 130 is like an international type of reputation. Like you are known in other lands, and uh, 60 plus, the realm that he has recently entered is starting to get known throughout Eisen, not just Freeburg. He's certainly known in every district. Like the other captains know his name, and even though he's the new guy, he has made a splash. Um, the and part of that has been a complete willingness of many of the people in Feinhearth to come to his door and simply ask for help without what had once been the status quo of with money in hand to bribe.
Yeah.
Because that had been how the status quo is sort of running. And like one of the most level-headed guards that he has been kind of serving as like a secretary to just sort of like, yeah, that's a very high priority. We will definitely get to that fruit stand soon. Uh, and other more important, more critical things. Um, and the Sorry, I just lost my train of thought. And so there's been a relatively constant stream outside of the Draken's Tooth, which has definitely sort of interfered with the ability to do a lot of repairs. Um, and Hans has by nature kind of like been forcing all the guards out into the streets, into like doing active work to try to resolve the flood of people that are coming with different concerns. I would say that the most immediate concern for a lot of people just seems to be some fear that like the Relaskier is out there. And one of the things that he's getting is a sense that there are people there is some force which is um, continuing to spread the idea that there are agents of the Relaskier. They're out in the darkness looking to like strike down the city at any time. Um, the reputation that the organization had has completely like cratered since the attack up in the marketplace. And the thing is that like even though it's like inaccurate that they weren't actually responsible for that, it's hard to outrun bad news.
Yeah. Unfortunately.
So let's zoom in on Hans, and you kind of give me a sense of like what he's doing to fill his day and how he's going about like working on behalf of Vinehearth.
Let's see here. Probably a decent amount of time is spent still at the drop institute, like addressing the concerns of people as people show up. Either he's spending, he's at this point either let people know that there's like specific times of the day that he's going to be there to accept, like to talk to the people of the district, or he's kind of bouncing back and forth. Probably more so that he's developed a schedule just for the sake of consistency. Maybe he spends a few hours there in the mornings, goes to take on some tasks, assign his guards to places, and then comes back maybe a couple other times throughout the later hours of the day,
Um,
sleeping sometimes probably.
yeah. The head of the local brothel to which you've been introduced has made a regular point of dropping off meals and like being seen around enough that there's an ongoing floating rumor that they're attached somehow. Does that make
Yeah.
sense? Which is kind of entirely the point for her. Does that make sense? It does nothing but good for the brothel to have the reputation that the local captain is in a relationship with the madam,
Yeah.
because people tend not to get violent, and so long as like Hans hasn't pushed against it for the sake of his honor or whatever, then
It's convenient for him as well. Less people will bother him.
yeah, there is still a fan club, and there is definitely an
Yeah.
issue with that. Sometimes the fan club is showing up with like things they'd like him to take care of because they want the interaction with him, and that's it. And
Oh. Oh no.
like they're really just there to like, you know,
Funny. They're just there to
bat their
fangirl.
eyelashes.
Anyone who's been to
They're
a
just
convention
I was gonna say like
knows
they're just
knows
there to get
this.
something signed, but like that's not really kind of a thing yet. um the it's earlier in the morning, and the it's a bit of a surprise that the cap whoa, what the heck was that? I just got like 1,000 updates in my ear from
Oh.
I went over to Roll20, and like all
Oh,
of the
right.
uppies
It was
happened
the
in like a
uppies.
second
You
because I
got
was
all
in
the
a different
updates
tab.
notifications.
So it just sounded like a machine gun of bubbles in my ear. I was like, what was
Yeah.
that?
Oh yeah. Yeah, because some of you have it set up as like it pauses the tab. That's
Yeah.
that's gotta be insane.
Boop, 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 boop.
Uh, it's a surprise to find Vasya in the Draken's Tooth.
Oh,
Um, but he's there. And I mean, it's like early enough in the morning that it's like there's some respect for like this is a man working just as hard for the city as Hans is.
yeah.
So
Oh, snaps him a salute. Hey Wilhelm, good morning. What can I do for you?
he says, I wanted to bring you up to speed on some of the things since everything has happened.
Indeed, indeed.
Uh, he Can we walk the basement? I
Yeah, of
understand there's been
course.
some reinforcement and the like done.
Indeed. It's been as much work as we've been able to get done outside of the incoming requests from the people. But yeah, of course. Follow
Yeah.
me.
And it's after a little bit that you realize like it's just an actually sort of an opportunity to like get you away from your men. Does that make sense? And those who outside would have like tried to eavesdrop or whatnot, the basement is known to be like off limit to everyone except the guard. And while there is a person that is stationed down here now, but even when you're stretched thin, just because of like what just happened,
Yeah.
it's still kind of like that person still everything happened a week ago, and he still kind of snaps awake when he hears footsteps. So it's not exactly a position that is like conducive to alertness and paying attention. Um,
Which is fair.
but Vasya, just kind of like nudges him. He doesn't say anything about the fact that the band has definitely like woken up in the last minute. He's like, "Why don't you go and get something to eat? We will be a few down here for a few." Um, and the guard kind of like, salutes him and dips off. Um, he says every available guard has been trenching the sewers for black powder barrels for some time. but by our estimates, more than half have already been retrieved.
Oh,
Uh, he says, not we believe by the Relaskier. He
oh,
says by criminal gangs and opportunists, and
I see. So it's still not as good of news, but
no.
they are divided at the very least.
We can tell their purpose because the price of black powder has sank in the marketplace. It is mostly for sale over in the Vendel quarter, and I believe the price has gone to a tenth of what it was a
Oh,
week ago.
whew.
Still, obviously, that means a great deal of it is out and unaccounted for. Hopefully, it is being sold elsewhere, but we have literally more at this point than we can store safely.
Oh, ooh.
We've had to take out a few small additional buildings, all up in the Steinholt, all well guarded, simply to keep it all.
Hard to believe that they managed to make so much.
He says, I've had one of the guards who has a passing familiar with alchemy go over the methods and in equipment that Margot created. It is clear that she is a genius. She has invented new processes, she has streamlined much of it, and has produced output considerably.
Oh,
The estimate as to the number of alchemists it would take to replace what she has done without knowledge of her techniques is 10.
yeah, on such a scale that.
He says, not to mention it is extremely fine quality.
They picked someone interesting for their leader, I suppose.
Um,
So, what are we to do with it? If there's so much already in storage that we cannot, we cannot keep track of it. What happens if we are to find more?
I have preemptively sold some of it to Kelby Loring, um, but in other mercenary companies, I understand will take an interest as well. I know of a few artillery companies that would travel all the way here simply on the reputation of a finer quality black powder. A misfire from artillery is far more devastating than a misfire from a pistol.
Yeah, I could imagine. Oof. I mean, perhaps it is prudent to invite them anyways, even with the amount we already have.
You know, um, it says it has created something of a, let's say that there's a commission of people that are interested in Margot's sentence being one of labor over execution.
That, I mean, does not exactly come as a surprise. Not the worst idea either. I mean, with such vast alchemical knowledge, it could prove to just be useful in general.
I'm
Advancements to society as a whole, perhaps.
perhaps
Who's to say?
I am on a corner between it. It says, I know what you have attested that she was not responsible for the attack up in the market. That is not, and I do not believe that giving in to the people's hunger for a sense of revenge is appropriate if we know that that was not the case. There were assassination attempts, to be sure, and a price to
Of
be
course,
paid for that. Um,
most definitely.
but the bulk of the common people's anger is over the death and chaos that was caused
In the
by that
market,
attack that nearly claimed your life.
indeed. I mean, yeah, it is a bit of a tricky position to be in, no doubt.
The real difficulty for me is the possibility if Freiburg ever needs to have its own army, it will need to have weapons, modern weapons.
Of course.
Um, Logan has asked me about that very position, a general of an
Oh,
army.
Wow.
asked who I would suggest for that position.
I mean, there certainly is a wealth of capable people we have discovered.
There is.
Has Logan mentioned anyone? Has he, laid out any specifics? Perhaps you already?
Basia is like, your humility is so charming.
He like, apologies, Captain. Do
you presume I've asked you down here to talk about it in privacy so that I could speak on another candidate?
You had just invited me down to not disclose sensitive information to the.
I could have. He reaches over, he squeezes Hans' shoulder. Any man who takes such a position will be in a position to seize control of the city by force. Says,
No
and their
doubt.
honor must be beyond question.
It almost happened with the Vakund, and not even an actual army.
No. And because of the Wakund, there is for the first time a call to have such a force.
Makes sense.
The council is in a position of being well reputed. You personally have accomplished a number of acts of heroism, including facing Kelby Loring and coming away victorious. It is also an extraordinarily heavy responsibility, so I won't put your name forward unless
Sure.
you are certain that it is something that you think you are ready for. But understand, time may be tight. If matters with the Iron Princes grow more unstable, and early reports from Heelgrun's lands suggest that they are, we may need an army sooner than later.
Indeed. This kind of he's been kind of like he's been smile. There's been kind of a small smile, and he's been very like timid about the whole thing so far. And as Vasya is talking about, like he keeps saying army, and the idea of leading an army. He kind of there's just this realization, something that was said to him long ago by a particularly shadowy friend, and he just like he straightens up and. I mean, yeah, as you mentioned, it is indeed just a great responsibility, and I mean, I am honored that you would come to me and I mean, even inform me of such discussions. It would be an honor of mine to lead that, should this plan come to fruition. I think it would be in our best interest as a whole to have a defense force, to have a force that we can truly call our own, as opposed to relying on the guards of the districts and the charity of whatever Iron Prince allies we may still have.
The reality is that there is no way that we can have an army without having taxes, which changes a great many things in Freeburg. The only other possible way is to have donations from extraordinarily wealthy individuals, in which case they would control the army and not the people of Freeburg.
Yeah, that is a worse proposition.
It says Logan is not yet determined that this is the route to take. I personally believe it is the wiser course.
It does change a great many things, but I mean, as you mentioned, taking on the generosity from whatever motives of any very wealthy people adds or takes control away from us as a society, as a small society. It takes away from our agency. And I mean, cannot have that. There's been far too much of that for far too long already, from at several levels. If we are to succeed, we are to be independent, and we are to be ourselves. not to be the pawns of not to be the pawns of someone else.
I agree. I would take your time. I understand you have a great many responsibilities on your time, but take this time to prepare a logistic assessment of what would be required, how many men.
Indeed.
And what is a suitable start? And if this army's purpose is to defend Freiburg, I think, barring conflict with Posen, then 10,000 men is adequate, so long as we build city walls capable of protecting the city.
Indeed.
Without those walls,
yeah,
the difference in the fact that we are defenders means nothing.
Indeed. Proper defensive fortifications would be necessary. Although I do not see Posen being as much of a hostile power as people fear, which is good. It is a comforting thought for me, at least.
From what I've heard of her, we have nothing to fear from her until we do.
That much is true. That is that is at least the reputation.
I don't believe that we have the money or income necessary to field a force capable of meeting her on an open field.
Oh.
I don't. But artillery from behind city walls and enough men trained to defend those walls, that is possible.
Indeed. It is a very achievable goal.
And possibly a force small enough to go into Hilgrund and alleviate some of the worst of the suffering there. I understand that the ghosts are running roughshod across the entire Koenig.
Yeah, that does not surprise me either.
We've gotten no less than 20,000 refugees in the last week from those lands alone.
Oof. Perhaps that is a good place to start. I have much to do now.
And you would likely also need to think on a successor to take over here in Einharth. Training an army is a full-time occupation.
That it is. Very well. There is work to be done, as always.
You are doing an excellent job of it.
Thank you. It is a pleasure to better the city and to give the people something new.
He reaches out and squeezes Han's shoulder again. I'll let Logan know that you are willing to accept the responsibility. He steps out after that, kind of leaving Hans in, a darkened basement that has the relics of the last war and the war before that locked up in it, as well as so many cakes.
Yep.
Yum, yum, yum.
And whiskey occasionally liking to disappear under some of them. So I'm going to drop the curtain on that and open this up. So. All right, thank you everyone, and welcome to the Shadow of the Wachtturm. Our producer tonight is one of the moderators of 2020 Gaming, the delightful and compassionate Gloriosa. Our lore master for the series is the beautiful and benevolent Syndra. Before we get started, I want to give a content warning. While the spirit of Seven Seas, swashbuckling adventure, and shadowy intrigue, the story will deal with mature themes, including death, loss, suicide, and grief. Eisen, our setting, is recovering from a 30-year civil war of religious differences. It may get dark sometimes, and there's no shame in bowing out if it's not a place your head can go at the moment. So without further ado, I'm going to have our sexy swashbucklers introduce themselves. That works too. I meant to say savvy, but tonight it's going to be sexy swashbucklers. So
Clip that! Clip that?
I blame Hans, so he'll be opening us up.
All right. Well, hello everybody. My name is Rory. I am here this wonderful Sunday evening playing Hans, the Hans Mr. Prospect apparently, and yeah, of course the wonderful soldier boy himself.
You!
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
You can also find me here on the Dirty 20 Gaming Twitch channel every other Wednesday for Oracle Force, playing Graviton, the gravity manipulating angsty punk teenager. And outside of that,
He's
you can.
adorable.
I love this character. They are going to be.
They're so adorable.
They're going to be a lot of fun as more sessions happen, which is this week. So you better be there. You better tune in. But outside of this wonderful channel and these wonderful people, you can find past, present, and future, I guess, musical endeavors on SoundCloud. And starting actually confirmed very soon, because I finally set up all the hardware for it, is the basement, kind of semi-improvised radio DJ Twitch stream here on this fun and wonderful streaming platform. That aside, I think that's all the cool news for me. So I'm gonna toss the speaking ball over to Rosa.
Not the speaking ball.
Oh, and it's intercepted. No points for Hans.
You intercepted, so go ahead.
That's right. I did. Hi, folks. It's Bat Kyle. I'm a menace, even when I don't mean to be. You can find me here on Sundays playing Len, the ass of Asura, and I still think we need to kill them kind of Costin. And you can find me on Mondays starting depending on when we're ready to go, either the 27th or the 28th or the 4th, for the pretty much mini-series Call of Cthulhu little game I'm going to have going called The Printer's Devil, which will have Kevin, Sans, and Janet in it. I'm looking forward to driving them all mad in a brand new way. That aside, you can find me on our wonderful friendly Discord being a menace, and over to Ruda.
Hey, you found me. I am here today as Runa. I am also here on Tuesdays as Exit, our resident fixer. And out in the one half that hasn't actually been addicted to Rainbow of the group.
You're welcome. I voted for you.
Thank you. I am also here every other Wednesday as Trek, aka Wheels, in our Oracle Force game. And and lastly, I'm here on Thursdays as Nora Avalon, and in the game that is Chaos. I'm going to pass it to Honorine.
Hello. I am Gloriosa. I'm here. I'm technically here. I'm here 3 nights a week. Not 5. I would die. So I'm here as a producer every other Wednesday for Oracle Force, which I love. I'm excited for session this week. And then I'm also our producer on Thursday nights for the demon gang that is known as Deviant Paradox. Right? Deviant Paradox, not Deviant Futures, Deviant Paradox. Because now I have them crossed in my head after Thursday. Somebody said Deviant Futures, and now I'm just like a mess. And then I'm here tonight on Sundays playing honoring my to-do list is always too long. Cease to cease. So she's our resident noblewoman, although maybe not for long. I don't know. I'm waiting for Hans to get like nobilified or something. At the rate he's going, Jesus Christ!
Isn't he already a knight?
He got gentrified. Like
Yeah.
he doesn't have land associated. Full
Right.
nobility is like when you have a parcel of land, but
Yeah.
Logan doesn't actually have any of that to give out. So
Yeah. Yet. Yeah, but he's gonna get nobilified before we're done. I can feel it. I can taste it. Anyway, so that's me. I'm gonna toss it. I'm usually the last to go, but I think we still have Sarah. So
Yeah, 'cause it got
toss to
intercepted.
Sarah. It did. It got intercepted. Sarah, what do you do?
Oh, I'm here 4.5 nights a week. I did the math. Soon going to be 5.5. Yeah. Yeah, I am here a lot. I don't have a life, y'all. I am here I will be here on the Monday game when that gets started. I am on the Tuesday game, Magic Broken Heart of the team. On Wednesday, as weirdly the leader of the group, Nightwish. For Thursday, I'm the DM for the City of Mist campaign, Deviant Paradox, and I'm here tonight as Rosa Nyx. Let's hope that this isn't permanent.
Our murder witch.
She doesn't mean to be a murder witch. She
But
didn't
she
start out as
is.
one. She didn't start out as one.
It's all right. She's our homicidal maniac, so that makes it okay.
And I think our intrepid narrator is last.
I am. I am not currently playing anything, much to my regret, but work is being crazy right now. I am, however, planning on running a play-by-post game that's going to be getting announced on the server fairly soon. That's going to be sort of a sister campaign to the Oracle Force game, except it's going to be taking place with a college of villains and aspiring villains. So if you would like to try your hand at some writing and some okay, got some people interested. Great.
All the hands that went up just now.
They're going to be, aspiring supervillains that have secured their entry into Tech which is the College of Villainy. So
You know what's crazy is I could technically still use my character that's in the current campaign. Just if she went down a different path.
Well,
Same
since
with
they
Nightwish.
are going to be concurring worlds. Does that make sense? So
Ooh.
like there's the potential for crossover because Scarred and I have talked about this. That
Very
like
cool.
things are going to happen at a different rate because streamed stuff happens way faster than play-by-post stuff.
Oh my god! Sorry. I just had a brilliant idea. Anyway.
She's so
But-
blasé about this idea. Like, she's just really mellow about it.
That's her favorite thing about Ruth. That she does nothing in half measures. So- All right. I will provide some more details as time goes on. The difference in heights from the standing desk. I need that clipped too.
It does look
I'm
like
just gonna-
Rory the Giant reached down.
I'm just going to be teasing that that's going to happen, and put more details and stuff like that. For those of you who would like an idea of the commitment, it's probably going to be writing 2 or 3 times a week, and that's it. Because I'm intending to have quite a few players on it, and my ability to respond to everybody probably will be limited by that. So let's kick off this game, though. So, in the ancient days of Numa, the great storyteller and philosopher Sarah's the Wiser once noted that adventure can only begin in one of 3 ways: by death, by slur, or by letter. To begin without one of these incitements is folly, a tobacco best described as an indiscretion, a dalliance, or an escapade. But fear not, we begin tonight, properly girded, with a slur, the most dangerous of the 3, and thus the most powerful. I'm going to get into what that slur is in a little bit. For now, what I want to do though is I want to go around and have everybody just give us Excuse me, my voice is something special tonight. Um, give us a snapshot of kind of like what your character has been up to over the last week, like who they're spending it, what are they trying to do during the last week, um, that sort of thing. And I'm going to start with Rosa.
Okay. So I know at some point she is going to be talking to Len. Um, because after the last conversation about Hans, she has some worries.
Well,
Um,
not so much plans. What I'm looking at is like, what do they do during their day? Like for Rosa, is it that she's going to the city hall and she's standing in for Wilma whenever she can? Is she
oh,
like, what
yeah,
is she filling her time doing?
she's been because she's had that job now at the city hall for Wilma, and she probably spends most of her time there now instead of at her shop.
Um, and how is she taken to it? Like the sort of like listening to the ordeals of common people on a regular basis. There is a voice as she's doing it that is maybe not her own, that is kind of steadily irritated with the problems of peasants. Um, but there's also probably there's her own life experience that counterbalances it with the fidelity and uh, having been a commoner for her entire life, even though she was born
Yeah.
in nobility.
And yeah, there are times that that comes up, but she very quickly like pushes it away because there's also this thought of, wait, that's not who I am.
So she's resisting it a lot more than she has been in the past.
Yeah.
Um, all right. What I would like a resolve roll from Rosa as she's going through sort of like her day to day. And I'm going to cut back to that. Uh,
Yep.
actually, no, go ahead and just do the resolve roll. And we'll
22.
okay. Um, there's a moment where she kind of feels like her temper fray faster than she's ever felt it before. You know what I'm saying? Where she snaps at somebody who's like in the 15th minute of explaining like a- an issue with like a missing sheep that she's certain that was like stolen by somebody else in the city, but like this is literally some sort of problem that predates Freeburg and like their move to the city. It's just that that person stole their sheep on their old land, and now they're here and they want, like, and Rosa just kind of like finds a stream of a stream of the kind of Vidachi that like the priests would wash her mouth out for. That
Yeah.
just kind of like comes off her tongue, you know what I'm saying? And like the person just blinks and like doesn't speak that language at all, you know what I'm saying? And Wilma just sort of like appears almost a moment later, um, and puts a hand on her shoulder and is like, "I think we're going to have to close down for today. Thank you, everyone. Zucker will get everyone some numbers so they can return and be in the same line tomorrow." Um, and then just sort of she touches like Rose on the shoulder and she's like, uh, "This job has a particular kind of burden."
I'm sorry. I don't know what took over me.
She says, "You don't have to apologize to me, but you should take some time, spend it with somebody that you care for."
See, I will.
Um, she kind of she says there is a new food cart that is open in the market, and I understand they have some excellent fettuccine pastas.
Yeah, I'll reach out to Len and see if he's not doing something for Hans.
She smiles and kind of has her head out after that. And now we're going to cut to Len. Like, what has Len been filling his day with? How is he?
Um, it's trying to balance things. Definitely spending quality time with Rosa, like actual quality downtime with Rosa, not hey, we've got this weird sort of chaos romance going on. Also trying to help Hans get things back under wraps when he can. Probably more is his scouting abilities and such, but also as a hunter, trying to find
I,
caches. Go ahead.
I would actually like a wits and keen senses and criminal roll from uh, Len for that.
Okay. There's Len. So with consensus and we have yes, so 30.
Okay, so you know the culprit of who is behind the largest number of like black powder thefts and stuff being retrieved out from under the noses of the guards, um, in Finehearth, and it's Felix and his gang. Um, so here's the thing. He is even sharper about it than most of the other gangs because most of the other gangs are just trying to get to it first and get it taken away. His group is getting paid twice. They are telling the guards where they are, letting the guards dig them out of the water, and then replacing what is in the barrels with sand and leaving the barrels intact inside of the guards' custody.
Damn.
Yeah. Now, are they selling it on or trying to keep it for themselves?
They're stockpiling it. They're like they have been rummaging. They know that they're a gang of kids, and so every time there's been a conflict between other gangs, the kids swoop in and pick up any knives, any guns, any like small weapons that they can use, and they hide them. They like scurry them away. They don't walk around with them, and they're keeping the black powder in the same way as well. It's something that could make a huge profit if they sold it off, but they're not doing that. They're squirreling it away.
Uh, well, honestly, that puts Len in a position, but uh, for now, he's going to kind of pass that on to Gav because there's no way he himself is getting it back. And the fact that the kids are getting it instead of some of the more problematic guilds is at least
Oh, that's
keeping.
the other thing I should add. They're not actually stealing the black powder retrieved by the guards in Finehearth. They're stealing it from the guards in other districts.
Oh, oh, well, that's fine. Other districts can look out for themselves. If it was Hans, that would be a more difficult position.
Because he has an understanding with Hans, like I'm not going to take from him. This is his district. I'm not going to put him in a position to look bad. And they're also not taking every single barrel.
Of course,
There'll be like a room with 5, and they'll empty out 3, and they'll leave 2 in the front that still have black powder in them.
All right, well then, yeah, he's gonna kind of pass that information on to Gav in case Gav wants to do something about that.
Yeah, he's shaping up to be a pretty smart little criminal mastermind.
He really is. And
Yeah, that
you know,
kid
kind
needs
of
to
like
be knocked on the head a couple more times.
yeah, and it's more the worry. He wants Gav to look into it. More of the worry that the kids won't store it properly, and that means we have rogue barrels of doom powder that could go off in any part of the city.
Yeah. One of the things that Len does kind of realize, I'm assuming he's kind of like in cat form spying on him and stuff. One of the things that they have explicit orders to do is to take it out of large barrels and put it in smaller things that won't have that kind of destructive power. So like it's a lot of tiny little stashes, but it'll be stashes that are like they dig 2 rocks out of a wall, they shove a tiny barrel in, they shove a pistol or 2 in, and then they mark it. And then they just leave it. They never come back to it.
And it's there for emergencies. All right. Well, as long as they stay an adorable gang of scamps and don't decide that this is the perfect time to go Kid Capone on the other gangs, then he's just going to mention it to Gav, and that's going to be it.
Yeah. They don't seem to be storing anything outside of Finehearth. and Len definitely knows what the mark is.
Okay.
And I will give him the ability down the road, if he's in Finehearth and he goes into the sewers, he can find a gun in under 3 minutes.
That knowing this friggin' place, that might actually be pretty useful. So we'll keep an eye on that. But yeah, otherwise it's really just it's spending time with Rosa, helping Hans, and helping Kathrinia as needed while they still try to figure out that whole situation.
So I'm gonna move to Runa now.
Move to Rona.
Runa. What has Runa been filling her day with?
She's been spending a lot of time at the bear house, assisting with the healing and doing what she can and learning. And she's also doing her thing, mentoring Brandy, and spending time with her cousin, because Runa's usually really busy.
I am drawing a blank as to, so Jairus is the name of the vessel who's interested in her. I'm drawing a blank as to what I named the sister.
You have a hero forge of her. Let me find her.
Sora?
No, that's
Jairus' sister.
Where is she?
While you're looking it up, Jairus and sister and Sora and Brandy and Runa have had like many a lunch together as they're like putting everything, as they've kind of gone back to status quo and normal. Jairus made quite a bit of money, like having his boats rented out to ferry people around during all the bridges are shut down stuff. And he's using it to expand his shop a little bit, and that's been keeping them busy. Kind of, buying some new winches and some new equipment.
I don't know that you posted it.
I have looked all over for what I did with it, and I cannot
I
seem to
have a
remember
feeling
it.
it's Jira.
I think it is. I'm fine with entering that into the canon.
Because they had similar names.
Yeah. I'm just gonna make a note of that on Jairus's character sheet. That is. And there's a couple times, like during the lunches, that you realize that Jera has a bit of like a lingering gaze on Sora. And Sora has noticed it and has like she clearly doesn't know quite what to make of it. You think that she might be interested, but kind of have never explored that for themselves. Does that make sense? They were kind of forced into prostitution, forced to be a wife, and she's definitely not had any interest in men. Like you've never seen anything from Sora that indicates like someone has caught her eye.
Mm.
And Jera is like the first person that she seems to have sort of like looked back at. Does that make sense?
Mm. After like noticing after the twins have like left, just gonna kind of look to Sora and go, you should pursue her. You're allowed to do that, you know.
And there's like an immediate blush. She's like, I used to be a Jenny. I've been married. I have a child.
So, have you seen the way she looks at you?
And Sora's blushes. Is kind of charming, particularly given that she used to be a Jenny. Does that make sense? Like that she was used to the gaze on her and like working to attract it and stuff like that. So like the fact that the idea of this is even making her blush. She says she looks at you like that too. And she kind of is fidgeting with her dress. Like there's a bit of it that you can tell there's just sort of like she's running through every excuse she's had in her own mind. It's like
You're
why this is a bad
deflecting.
idea. Uh, she says I've had a lot of heartbreak.
This one could be different.
She says, and it won't make you jealous.
Why would it?
I've never had I think of you as a sister already, and I've never had one before. But I know she was interested in you first, and I think there's a whole story about sisters stealing paramours from one another, and
I've made my choice.
she kind of giggles and she leans in and she says, "Is the choice posed?"
Unfortunately, I don't think I can. It's a little bit far.
She nods. She says, Jarrow seems a very fine man, but he also seems a settling down kind of man.
And
She says, I have a hard time picturing you not taking to the sea as soon as you can.
I don't know that I would if you weren't coming with me.
She says, there's a lot I don't know about that. Freeburg's been home for a while now. It also is not exactly a good port in that sense. It's a long trip upriver to get here. She says, and I also don't want to be somebody that denies you what you dream of. And I know your mother is still out there and members of your crew.
I've checked on them and they're not all home. I have not much to go back to.
Um,
My mom
It
is
feels-
out there, but she's not home.
she just kind of wraps an arm around Runa and gives her a squeeze.
I have people here.
She says, I just want you to know I'm just going to start calling you sister.
I'm fine with that.
And I wish my mother had gotten the chance to meet you.
I hope mine gets to meet you someday.
And she nods in agreement. And I'm going to move from there back to Hans and what Hans is kind of filling his next week or so with, how much he's focusing on sort of setting up like what the logistics would be for walls and armies and that sort of thing, as well as the Feinhearth is also still his responsibility for now.
Yeah, that's going to be tricky for him, dividing his attention between this kind of realization of a path towards his apparently ultimate goal, at least the goal that he's been kind of sicked on,
Sick 'em.
whether he wants it or not. And yeah, I mean, he still has to keep his effectively home safe. He probably spends more time here than it is in his house in the Dragon's Nest. A fair amount of it is probably still devoted to the district, at least for the moment, just because I imagine there's still quite a lot of requests from the people of the people of Finehearth, and still training up his guards and trying to fill in gaps in the ranks whenever they pop up, or when he just figures out, hey, I need like 2 more guards to cover this area that I didn't think of.
He has a large number of volunteers. The guards in Finehearth have a reputation for like they're probably the least paid of all the districts. Does that make sense? They make less than everywhere else.
Mhm.
But what they make consistently. Whereas everybody else can be like 10 guilder one week, 40 the next.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? Their sources of donation tend to be like steady, just not extremely rich. And the district
Yeah.
itself is not extremely rich. And one of the particular things about that is that they're not getting any regular revenue from the largest industry that's in the district. And that largest industry being the ceramics factory. And the
Mhm.
ceramics factory hires all its own guards and has its own protections and stuff like that.
Yeah.
The other industry that's extremely large is the Gazette, but it kind of follows the same rules. It's got its own building, it's got its own guards.
Yeah.
If there's a problem, they kind of turn to them over the rest of the guard.
Relatively independent.
That said, the head of the Gazette has been a lot friendlier to Hans. There's been absolutely no outreach from like the ceramics factory.
Interesting. I mean, it's probably going to be an element of figuring out a way to try and bring a bit more money, at least have a bit more money moving through the district to contribute to the whatever small merchants and stuff we may have here, at least to try and maybe prop up the place a bit more.
There is no significant market district in this area.
That's the main thing.
There are a couple of places that could easily kind of become one. The shouting area is definitely one such place because people are already, noisily there and attending for entertainment.
Mhm.
So having a couple of people moving in with food carts could definitely start such a thing, but they've traditionally been sort of chased away from it as like this isn't a market.
Yeah.
Right now, most of the people in Fine Earth have to travel to another district to like buy anything more than like a meal.
Yeah.
So that brings me to the question of like if he has the choice of prioritizing like safety and security here in this area or trying to build up its wealth a little bit, which would he be focusing on?
It's a good question. I think at this point he probably feels that they've got enough guard personnel and enough people that are willing to join on potentially short notice that if something sudden and chaotic were to happen, they should be able to handle it relatively well.
Yeah,
I think he now it's a bit of trying to bring this place up a bit, get it on a bit more equal terms with the rest of the city.
Yeah.
I think that's the big priority right now.
Okay. Finehearth's currently security and safety is just at a 1 dot. Its criminal influence is at a 2 and its wealth is at a 2.
That's true.
So there's definitely still issues with like security and safety, but he's been I'm thinking at this point it's still a 1 because he's been so focused on like training guards and getting new guards coming in and kind of also quickly weeding out guards that like, yep, that's not gonna work.
Yeah.
That person is on day 2 accepting money. So
yeah, exactly.
So what I'm going to have is this is going to be covering about 2 weeks of work. Also, is he working on the logistics things that Vasya asked for, or is he going to like reach out to like Kelby and see if he could help?
I think he's definitely trying to put in work on that project when he has the time. He probably has reached out to a couple people. He's maybe asked for some input from Kelby and asked her even like if Len's passing by, asked him a couple like passing like, hey, what's your take on a couple different strategic things for this project? But I think for now he's still mainly prioritizing the district.
Okay. So Len, do you have any abilities that could provide an assistance to that, you think?
Think so. If my character sheet will, there we go. Skills. Oh, here we go. He's got strategist and enforcer.
Okay. So just having a second pair of eyes on a lot of things, because those are skills that Hans also possesses.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But having the second pair of eyes will help. I will let you, how many dice do you have in both of those? One or two?
2.
Okay. So Hans, I would like a wits and enforcer, or a wits and strategist roll. And you can add 2 bonus dice to it, contributed by Len, basically,
Okay, nice.
that are going to go towards the role of like his assistance. This is going to be the role to increase you're working on wealth, or you're working on social security and safety.
Mhm. I think I'm gonna go the long game and try and get us on a bit more even footing with more of the city, wealth wise first.
Okay. So that's going to be a target number 45.
Okay. Whew.
Holy moly.
You're going to roll your wits and your strategist on your way there, and you're going to get bonuses from Len, who's actively helping during this and spying on the criminal gangs and reporting such.
Okay.
And when you do the logistics roll, Kelby can help you with that one,
Okay.
but that'll be a separate roll.
So for this, you said wits, strategist, and two bonus rolled dice.
No, unkept dice, because they reflect Len's skill.
Okay, 2 bonus unkept. Math on this here. So that is. Oh, okay. I'm gonna spend 1 drama die on this as well. So that is, let's see here. Wits and strategist makes 6, 2 from Len, and 1 drama die makes 9. Wits is 3, so that's 9, keep 4. Here we go. That's a 50.
Ooh.
That's a 50,
Right.
baby.
So that is actually you've raised the wealth up to 3 dots.
Let's go.
I'm gonna put that in the GM notes because it does take me a while to actually edit the image.
That's
It
fair.
probably won't happen immediately. But yeah, you see like the opening of a market in that area, and enough vendors. Like, one of the things that you have very much learned is that when you need things, the first thing to do is to go out to like the despair area and say, hey, like, we need more guards. We need more people willing to work at like a food cart. We need
Mhm.
that kind of thing. For now, like, giving them the ability to like make their own money, you don't have to like turn over a shop front to them or something like that. You just have to give them the ability to sort of have their own money, have people start to come here and spend it instead of in other districts.
Yeah.
And they in turn can like start to employ some kids to like be bringing them supplies or whatever it is. Once you have that basic sort of like, this is a reliable place to go get food, other things will start to show up there of their own accord as well.
Okay. Okay.
Awesome. So
that's sick.
And because it is a large district, one of the most cramped, having to not cross bridges in order to get a meal is a big deal.
Yeah, that's true.
So, all right. So I'm going to You've accomplished that successfully. Now go ahead and let's do another roll. This is going to be open-ended. You're going to get 4 bonus dice from, you're not going to get 4 bonus dice. You're just going to get a +10 to the final result from Loring,
Okay.
because he has a specialty in logistics, and so he'll be able to kind of go over your math and be like, your math needs mathing.
Okay.
Math it right.
Is that that's going to be a wits and strategist as well?
Yes.
Okay.
If I would also like to mention, if you would like to contact Honorine, she has an ability called Architectural Sense that can give you a very accurate view of how much walls and the like would cost. So
that's a very good point. Yeah. Yeah, I think I'd yeah, you would definitely do that. Reach out and can you check these blueprints and check these maths.
And Runa could help build.
we're just excited to make things.
Yeah.
Is Honorine helping with that?
Put me in, coach.
How many dots in the Scholar Knack do you have?
I think I have 2. Let me find my character sheet. I have way too many windows open right now.
That's fair.
I have 1 right now.
Okay, so what I will let Hans do is he's going to get +10 from Lorik, who really understands the logistics of how much men take to feed, and keep in weapons and armor.
In line and
Honorine is really helping to tackle the this is how much it'll take to build a wall, and we have it properly done. So you're going to get a total of +15. I'm giving +5 from our architectural sense, but you're also going to get an extra. You said 1 die or 2 for Scholar? You're also going to get an extra unkept die to roll for the final result.
Okay. So that turns to 7, keep 3. I will use my second drama die for this because might as well make that 8, keep 4. And 35 on that.
Okay. So part of this plan is going to hinge on recruiting experienced sergeants from existing mercenary companies, basically saying you're going to have a long-term position, but you're going to be responsible for training rank novices. And then for as far as the actual filling out the army, it's going to be filled entirely with people from Despair. So the number of veterans is going to be very small, but you're going to be able to save on salaries by going to people who are grateful just to have a roof over their head and a regular source of food. The fact that they're getting an income along with it is and it's at a level that Loring believes is in the long term, by the time they've gotten through training and stuff like that, they're going to expect a bump in pay. But that's okay because they'll have earned it by that time, because they'll be a regular, they'll be a reliable soldier who's put in months of training at that point. But until then, they'll be cheaper and more affordable, so it won't be all this cost coming at once at the city. Although there will be costs in the way of clothing and armaments and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Some of it's going to be donated, an expectation that a bunch of the confiscated black powder will be donated for a reserve for training. But other things will have to be made a contract for, and you're not going to have that many rifles lying around.
Yeah, exactly. You'll have to work with the various blacksmiths and leather workers and stuff in the city, for sure.
You have a very well thought out and complete logistical proposal. No plan survives first contact with the enemy. So and everybody understands that most price kind of things will overrun their projections. It's a miracle if you come in under budget or you've done something really shady. All right, so and you've also made it you see that there's a significant difference in the sort of wealth that's happening in Fine Earth, but it's also attracting criminal attention, and is going to need an increase in security soon as a priority over more wealth, because that'll just make it a bigger target. So, but you have accomplished a lot during this time, and so Hans might not have gotten much sleep, but he certainly probably has a sense of accomplishment.
Yeah.
Look at him go.
Awesome.
So let's go over to Honorine, who has had, let me know what she has been filling her time at over the past week or so.
She has been, over the past week or so, as I kind of mentioned before, I believe it was bullet point 4 in the to-do list. No, there's not actually bullet points, by the way. I'm just kidding.
I have a bullet point list from you.
I didn't put bullet points on that list. I just made a list. Anyway, so she is having her portrait made. So she's still doing the, I wouldn't even call it lip service because she's not putting her whole attention into it, but she's still playing the role of someone who is in Eisen and in Freiburg to invite suitors. So she's still, I just realized I still had the ass portrait up, so sorry about that. So she's having portraits made, she's having them like distributed throughout wherever, maybe not just locally, but like, I assume there are channels for this because in actual history there used to be like channels and a flow of like portraits here and there among the eligible bachelors before Tinder made it easier.
Well, so after the attack on the market, that was an artist's market. And there were a number that were killed or harmed during it. And so those that have remained, there's quite a few like would-be artists who are less interested in sort of being publicly marketing their wares as they were, and are much more keenly interested in like having a patron at this point. And many of them are willing to lower the rates that they would likely expect if she's willing to consider taking an artist into her house. And as far as your question had been about like how those pictures are distributed, that's largely where like the matchmaker comes in, and the matchmaker has been once again like willing to work with Honoring after the last little bits of events and everything with the Iron Prince. There's been like like your name will no longer destroy my business.
Yeah, the play's forgotten, and now we're back in because we saved some Iron Princes.
Yep.
Plus she was seen with Fischler. I mean, that's got to give her some cachet too.
Yes.
And she's fine. I was originally going to have her ask the artist that had attracted her aunt's attention. But if there's like an up and coming artist that has like some talent or something, she's pretty happy to add their patronage to her household.
The one who had attracted her aunt's attention was at the market during the attack. They didn't survive it.
That's terrible. Also, I didn't realize it was an artist market, so I feel like when I messaged you, like, oh yeah, she's totally having portraits made, like, that came off as more callous than I meant it, because like
there's more than one section of artists in the city, but that is the most well known and the one that she probably knows people by virtue of Len and everybody.
Anyway, yes, she's
Gertrude is actually totally has like the names of many artists who would appreciate patronage because she loves artists, and so she's taken many of them in after the attack, like rent free, for a little while until they've had the chance to recover. So
totally down. Yeah, so there's portraits, there's setting up patronage of somebody perhaps who comes recommended by Gertrude, and she sees if they have anything left of their portfolio, like she's gonna probably look at it and be like, oh, yes, very good.
Yeah. Gertrude's like, would you like someone who specializes in murals? We also have she like just absolutely like in the same way that she like does matchmaking.
Yeah.
She's happily like she would be a brilliant like gallery owner.
Yeah.
If she had any interest in making money off of it. But
and Honoring's totally gonna be like, I don't, but I will mention that to Hans, who might be building some walls soon. Admittedly, he probably doesn't intend for them to be very pretty walls, but there's no reason why they can't be very pretty walls.
She says, I would love that. She says, I'm also thinking of putting together something for a memorial for the market. And I'm wondering if you'd be willing to make a donation for a mural to that effect.
Absolutely.
Um, she says, thank you so much. I'll put together a letter requesting a specific amount.
Yeah.
But I have a few that I think would be willing to make contributions towards it.
Yes, absolutely. Honorine is also, in theory, seeing her cousin and congratulating her on her expectation of a child and whatnot.
That meeting keeps sort of getting pushed around. Like, oh, I had something come up at the last minute, like canceled and recanceled.
What a bitch. And then also, I wanted to have her working on memorizing the cipher again or giving it another try. Um, and B, I was gonna have her. Well, I guess you're talking about general stuff. Um,
Yes.
but yeah, part of how she's like devoting her time is studying the books she's found, memorizing the cipher. Like she's trying to in between, like basically while sitting for portrait or whatever. Like she's also sort of like flipping through books and like trying to like if the artist needs her to like raise her head or whatever, like she's fine doing that. But also sitting for portraits is a very long, boring thing.
Yeah. Um, and the and there's also the sort of like initial meeting, actual meeting with the matchmaker who uh is going to sort of she's going to give a more detailed account of like who's considered to be eligible bachelors in the city.
Okay.
Um, but if Honorine is kind of like the I'm in no hurry about this and slips that in, like it's more of like a I'm just looking to be dating. I'm actually not actually like seriously looking to be married immediately.
She very much wants to convey that she's not in a unholy rush, but she doesn't want to, she's already of age and she doesn't want to like be an old maid, so like there's no rush, but
But I'm
don't
not looking to
drag
be a spinster.
feet. Yeah.
Yeah.
So she's very much like our timeline is middle.
Yeah,
Because it's going
she
into
says
winter, right?
yes.
So she's probably like, I'm looking for perhaps a spring courtship or something. Like
Yeah, and she's like, and there's no urgency in doing so. And kind of like a glance towards Honorine's midsection.
yeah, no, there is not.
Okay.
You haven't heard rumors, have you? God.
She says this is Freeburg. You're merely being here indicates that rumors will follow you.
You're not
For the
wrong.
noble courts of nearly every other land, this is something akin to a banishment.
I know. It's been. I don't know how to phrase this tactfully, but she's totally going to tactfully be like, it's surprisingly pleasant for the banishment that I thought it was going to be. Or she might phrase it like that, depending on the matchmaker's personality.
She kind of laughs and she says, I've personally enjoyed the opportunity to pull people out of what they view as their last act as a noble and arrange matches that can return them to polite society.
Perfect.
Um,
And she's also willing to. So she's willing to drop a little bit of hot goss about Fischler, but like not anything salacious. Like she's not betraying his confidence, but she is gonna drop like how charming he was and how much she enjoyed her date, and maybe recount like, oh, he completely showed me how to hold. Have you ever fished before? Like he showed me how to hold a rod. Well, not his rod, but a rod.
Oh yeah, the matchmaker's just absolutely delighted at that.
Yeah. So she's 100% gonna like, as social offering, a little bit of like, hey, I had this interesting date, and here's some like something you can possibly talk to your friends about that will be fun to talk about. Like, I am offering you some of my social coin.
There are absolutely a few like just surprisingly filthy jokes from like a 60-year-old something woman who's been doing matchmaking for a while,
Yeah.
asking for details about, Fischler's rods and the holding of them.
Yes.
But she settles back in.
Yeah. Well, and she's 100% like willing to go a little bit raunchy with the joke, a little bit, because
Yeah,
she's Montaigne. Come on.
yeah. But,
Yeah.
and it's also all within the context of like the woman clearly knows it's joking.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I think that is between helping Hans with his walls and the matchmaker and portrait sitting and setting up patronage. I feel like that's probably filling a lot, and reading and memorizing. Like, I feel like that's probably filling up a lot of her time.
Yeah.
So that's probably a good amount.
And it's fairly late in that time that there is word from Ittori. Um, and it's just like it's got his seal on it and stuff like that. But within is actually not like a letter, it's just a map.
Okay. Also, do you
Um,
want me to roll for that cipher before I forget?
yes, please do.
Can you please remind me what I roll?
Wits and
It's a
Scholar.
TN 20 to memorize.
Yep.
So it's Wits and Scholar.
Yep. You just had a really shitty roll last time.
I did.
You have 4 dice and got like a 7. Like, oof.
Yeah. It's 27, and the TN is. I lost the TN.
You got it. You said it was, I think it was 25 or 22.
TN 20. Okay, cool,
Okay.
cool. So
Yeah,
I've got it
so you
memorized.
Yeah, so you can finally get rid of the actual physical copy if you want.
Yeah, she's willing to either give the book back to her aunt and thank her for loaning it to her.
Oh no, she'll still need the book.
Oh, okay.
The cipher is a separate thing from the book.
Oh, right. Okay, I'm with it. But she's gonna try to put the cipher in like a safe place where it's not gonna be found unless she's dead.
Yeah, and as if like,
One
oh,
hopes.
I've put this in a safe place. That's like an hour later is when she gets like a little street urchin showing up with a letter from Ittori. Almost as if summoned by
secrets.
and narrative wellness. Um,
Let's follow
the
the
address
map.
is actually in Riverfront area, and it leads to a small building that's there. It looks like at present an abandoned storefront.
Okay. And so Honorine's not fully dolled up for this, but she's not. I don't know that she's.
Is she passing as a peasant or a noble right now?
I think she's. I think she's trying to like. Since does she know the area before she follows the map? Like, is she familiar enough with the area? And what would blend in better?
Absolutely peasant.
That's
because
what I
this is an area that like nobles don't tread without bodyguards.
Okay, yeah, so she's gonna dress down. She does not, in fact, have a bodyguard with her, so probably wiser to do that.
Yeah. And comes around to the back as per like the arrows of instruction upon the actual drawing. And when she comes in, she can hear breathing. She can't quite see anyone. There aren't any candles that have been lit inside of it. And
So she's
then
gonna open the back as quietly as she possibly can and try to like listen before she kind of makes herself known.
Okay, cool. Go ahead and give me a wits and keen senses.
I can never remember it. I have a 2 next to keen senses. Is that what I add, or is that what it cost?
The 2 is the extra unkept dice that you give.
Oh, okay. All right. Cool. 40.
Okay. There are 2 people in this building. There's Tori's much lighter, much quieter breathing, and somebody else who seems to be in pain or in terror and is making a kind of constant low whimpering noise.
She's instantly like, is Tori about to fuck me? Or is Tori about to fuck me over? Like, she's instantly on guard. She's like,
Yeah,
okay, what's going on
and
here?
after opening the back door, she is kind of framed by moonlight and everything. She hears Tori's voice say, "Your new friend seems to have something of an aversion to darkness."
Oh.
And there's like the strike of a match, and like a lamp comes up, and you see the man who you recognize as the swordsman who kidnapped you. He does not look the same. Um, he looks like he has been drinking for weeks. Like the kind of like weight loss and sallowness, and you know what I'm saying. He's like white as a ghost. Um, and he sort of like he jumps at like the sudden lighting of like the lantern, and his eyes kind of like dart around the interior of the cell that he's been put into. Um, but at like the sight of Honorine, his eyes go wide, and he just starts to like scramble backwards in the cell and like slam himself against the rear wall of it. Um, and Hattori kind of like, and he's like, no, 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 no. Um, and Hattori, has a hand on his blade and kind of looks at the man and says, "Is this the one?" He seems like the one.
And so does he look like he's genuinely afraid of Honorine like that?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
I don't think she's ever had somebody terrified of her before like that.
Um, yeah, he is like she's probably never really seen somebody who she thinks like mind is completely broken.
So she's going to like kind of approach the cell, and then as he scrambles away and he's clearly terrified, she's
Yeah, he's
visibly
plastering himself against the back wall of it and trying to like not look at her.
she's visibly disturbed. And at the question from Hattori, she nods and is kind of, it wasn't a reality for her until now there's a physical man in front of her. Do you understand what I mean?
The whole trip out and the bloodshed and
No, the fact that she sent Hattori to find this man with the intent of returning him to Montaigne and putting him under interrogation, like handing him over to her family, and like this man was a figment of her nightmares until just now. Does that make sense?
yeah, this is a man who like put a sword to her neck. You know what
Right.
I'm saying? And held her and
Right, but it was sleep deprived. It was a wild dash. It was, she was already undergoing, there was a bunch, she was covered in blood. There was a lot going on. It was a very traumatic but very surreal experience for her. And it's almost like before now, he was just sort of like a boogeyman and less of a real person than the actual boogeyman that she is somewhat dating. So So, like, it's, and I'm saying all of this because Ettore, I suspect, has seen the look before and has seen something like this become real to somebody before, and sees somebody who's faced with the choice of, like, this is a real person and not some concept that I want revenge against, and now what do I do?
Ettore says, "Did you ask me to find this man for revenge or for something else?"
He is evidence. I need to give him to my aunt, and or at least put him where my aunt says to put him. I don't know what she intends. I do know what she intends.
Says, "I have taken this man from a holding cell for church."
He's
Says,
been
so
held by
his travel will, by necessity, need to be careful.
He's been held by the church this entire time.
It says the Inquisition had him and a number of others. It says when Ciosa took over, he released everyone. He neglected not to leave. He elected not to leave.
So, DM, so this guy has been sitting in a cell in the bottom of a church drinking himself silly for, like, however long Henri, like a month or more, however long Henri's been in Freeburg. Oh my god, he probably smells awful.
Oh yeah, he smells like not just wine, he smells like communion type wine. Like the cheapest stuff that you can usually get a hold of.
So he wasn't actually held by the church, he was just okay.
He says he was in a cell, he says, and I had believed him to be under their control. He says, when I went to secure him, I found the cell unlocked. He says, in his room filled with candles. And I mean a great many candles.
She's going to kind of look at the man. And is he continuing to babble, or has he gone quiet?
He's never stopped. He's like, no, I'm sorry, it wasn't me. No.
She's going to kind of try to speak to him a little harder than she might have otherwise, like kind of whip crack him into answering, and demand to know, who are you?
Go ahead and make a resolve roll. If you have what you feel is an appropriately intimidating skill to pair that with, you may do so.
You can use your appearance, I think.
Yeah, appearance absolutely can be intimidating as well as persuasive.
Well, and she also has noble, so I'm wondering if appearance and noble can be added to that.
The skill, absolutely. Berating your lessers, definitely a noble thing.
Okay. 24. Who are you?
He he says, I'm no one. I was Louis, but I'm no one now. I will never bother you again. I will never trouble you again.
You've already caused enough trouble for one man. Who hired you?
He says I was hired through the guild.
You were hired through the guild to kidnap me.
It says, I was hired through the guild and then I was given a letter and money.
Explain.
He says, I did. Everyone in the guild knew that I was the person to hire if you needed someone to do things that others wouldn't.
Where is the letter?
Uh, he looks like thoughtful, like he's trying to like remember where he put it. Um, and uh, uh, Ittori just kind of there's like a shriek as like the blade comes out and he like has it through the bars of the cell and against the guy's neck and he says boots off sir. um and the he's like shaking as he removes his boots but he like kicks them off and like out comes coins gilder and a very like rank and kind of moldy letter.
Oh God. Honoring. Okay, so there's a nuance here that I assume Ettore would pick up that this man maybe would not pick up. Honoring she's got her game face on, but she very much does not want to touch this letter. So
Yeah.
she's like mentally holding her nose as she reaches for it and
Ittori just kind of like puts his hand over hers and he reaches and he pulls a like kerchief out of his vest and he picks it up with the kerchief.
Oh, good. That's a better idea.
And he sets it down like under a candle and unfolds it.
And
There are parts of it that have literally been eaten away by like foot rot, and the letter smells like it. But
she's
like
gonna take out her own kerchief and put it over her nose.
yeah, Ittori looks like he's probably going to be getting a new kerchief. But, the letter it clearly outlines um, go to this place, pose as one of the guards seeking work, um, and if and offer a reduction in the cost of your services to go to Eisen, or if a job will take you to Eisen. Um, and like kind of like lays out the whole thing. Hire other guards, use this money to position yourself as like the head of a small group. When honoring size to size is placed into your custody, um, uh, execute her and you will be paid in full.
And it's signed by.
It's not signed because it's a criminal letter, but the fact that there were coins included with it to a criminal
Yeah.
would be enough to motivate him.
Yeah. Okay. And she's going to turn back to the men and ask him, who hired you for this?
Says that the letter was delivered to me by a musketeer.
Which?
I don't know, he's a musketeer.
They have names, you know.
I'm not in the business of asking them. And then you immediately like, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to raise my voice.
Oh, God. I forgot about that. And that's in character. She kind of mutters under her breath, like, after she, like, kind of snapped at him a little bit, and he's like, I'm sorry. She, like, very quietly is like, oh, I forgot about that. I'm picturing Ittori, like, first time.
Ittori says, I can get him onto a boat headed into Montaigne, or I can take him via the Perrois Mercantile. Says he'll travel by Porte. He'll be in Charus tomorrow.
I'll pay whatever it takes to get him to Charus as soon as possible. He needs to be delivered to my family, along with this letter.
Kind of picks up the letter with the kerchief again and wraps it carefully. He kind of removes like a small little like bottle of his own cologne and sort of spritzes it once and tucks it away.
And I don't think she had told Ettore before this, like, that it was actually a matter of her aunt being in trouble, like this man needing to go to her family, like all of that. Like, I don't think she had conveyed that context to him, so I don't know if he knew it. But she is tense. She is on edge, and she's very concerned that this man is going to slip out again. So she immediately is like, I need to speak with my aunt immediately.
I could bear a letter to her if you like, along with everything else.
That would be appreciated. And she'll first of all, she'll be like, Ettore, I cannot tell you how much this means to me, and I know.
He kind of lifts a finger and he puts it to her lips. He's like, whatever you have to say to me, let's perhaps not do it in front of a raving lunatic.
I'm just saying that I understand that. And she's going to very quickly, like, kind of, I don't know, go find paper, like, nearby or whatever, and kind of put together just a quick, this is the men who accompanied me to Eisen, and then sign it. And then, like, just, it's not in cipher, it's not, like, it's a very simple message that she figures her aunt will figure out.
And he takes it and he tucks it away, and he leans in and he pecks her on the cheek. He says, you should get out of here.
Oh, yes. I need to go douse myself in lye.
He says, I would love the opportunity to have him take a bath beforehand, but unfortunately the means are beyond me.
There's not a clean enough bath in the world. But yeah, she's fully.
Yeah, and the man in the cage is like, no baths. He's in the water. He's under the water.
Who's under the water?
And he just like holds up his hands and he's like,
Interesting. I don't think Honorine has any experience with seeing him, like, in pools or anything like that, right?
Nope.
Interesting. All right.
So
that's all.
We'll cut away from there.
She goes back to take the hottest bath that she possibly can. Also, she burns those clothes.
I just have this like little picture of like Waldo kind of like walking by his estate and like wondering whether there's like a smoke trail going up from the backyard of one of his properties. It's just like, oh.
Huh.
But we're going to move back. I think the best thing to do at this point is to have Rosa and Len were looking to have a scene together to kind of talk about some of the things that were on them. We're about 45 minutes out. I know there's like more scenes to do. I'm planning that there's going to be like a third part to this. So Rosa is very easily able to find, a new like Vidachi serving pasta cart that is like it's very simple. It's mostly like, like longer pasta, but it is like properly done, hung out to dry, cut into like small strips and then like flash boiled and just like a simple tomato sauce and fresh cheese. So
And a single meatball so they can do the Lady and the Tramp thing.
I'm sorry, I just made some of our cast hungry just by describing it.
Um, yeah, Rosa absolutely like gets it, and the entire time she's not talking during the meal like normal. There's very evidently something on her mind. Uh, almost this. She's almost avoiding looking at her hands, even.
Which would give him a bit of insight into possibly what might be bothering her. But Len's just going to kind of be a solid, reassuring presence, giving her the time she needs to work up to saying whatever needs to be said. He's not in a rush.
I'm the when this happened, I know that you all weren't exactly, you don't remember how, but were you worried?
I feel like I was. Like I still have a lot of um, just general anxiety about the Wachtturm itself and what it's doing and what could happen, but it feels like the central character in a play just sort of vanished, and I'm trying to remember stuff from secondary characters who also don't remember.
I ended up seeing my grandmother that day. I was trying, I was going to turn myself over to protect you all, and she told me not to.
And she was right to do so.
But since then, Len, I yelled at some poor farmer.
How long was this farmer rambling on for about something you couldn't fix?
That's not the point. I've never yelled at someone before.
Yes, love, but you've also never consistently, if I'm understanding correctly, worked so tirelessly with so many people. It was more the cards and pretending or whatever.
It's different, but I don't know how to explain it.
Does
It's
it? Oh, good.
I don't know if it's me. I don't know what's happened. And then everyone was talking about how Hans had changed, and I started wondering if maybe there's something not right.
And he's gonna look around, make sure that there's nobody like within easy listening distance before he leans in. He just whispers, "Well, you are currently in possession of a incredibly dangerous artifact that the church, the Inquisition couldn't apparently even destroy. They locked away. You apparently saw Great Graham, and you've told us that she worked in incredibly powerful magic through you, and then your hands did the thing, which I find very fetching, by the way. But I know you didn't intend it,
No,
so it would not
it's
surprise me if she is like. Does she talk? You does she talk to you regularly?
not that I notice.
Hmm. But she did talk to you.
She has in the past, yes.
You think she has any
I
reason why we went so pro murder
I
not that long ago?
the thing I keep getting back to is how it felt that if my family was under attack, I didn't have a choice.
Well, If I'm remembering correctly, she did sink an entire island to try and protect her family, so that seems like a pretty powerful motivation for her if she's still around and is now fiddling in your mind.
Like with Honorine when she told me that she got a gun put into her face, and if he had not been dead already, I would have gone to kill him.
Yeah, yeah, no, I get that, and I'm sure part of that is just family being family. Maybe I don't really know,
I
but
I am not like that.
really not. Your
I,
distaste for violence is one of the things I enjoy about you. You're not violent, but you're not, some shrinking violet either.
I don't like hurting others, and yet I was so ready to kill Upman, and talking to Gav, realizing that I'm wondering if magic like mine, like Hans, if there's a price we are paying.
All magic comes with a price.
But
I
not like yours or Honorine's.
I would once again. He's just gonna make sure nobody's convincing too much. But he's like, oh, I could lose my powers at any time if Matryoshka just decides I'm not worthy of them. Um, I've talked to several demigods and received visions from certified gods as part of my connection to all of this. Um, I'm not saying I fully understand what you're going through, but I'm saying there is always a price for magic, and the stronger the magic, the bigger the price. Usura is full of stories about why that is the case. So the question becomes, can you put the book aside for a while?
I'm going to meet up with Honorine and let her borrow it.
I would think a quick resolve roll at the mention of can you put the book aside for a while?
Oh no! Oh no! No, because like that was gonna be her discussion with Honorine, was like, here, I'm gonna lend it to you so that you can have see if 25.
Okay. It's a terrifying prospect.
Yeah.
There's sort of like an immediate like actually um the the image that kind of flashes in your mind is of Rosencruz, the like half burned inquisitor with his hand around your throat and your fingers kind of like grasping for the air, looking for the journal. You know what I'm saying? And behind him, you can see Honorine and Len like tied to pyres. Does that make sense?
Oh,
And starting to burn as you're like struggling to like grasp for the journal and it's not in your hands.
yes.
It's
She's
just a
gonna start.
momentary image and then back.
Yeah, it's immediate tears.
Oh, oh, touchy subject.
I I'm scared if I don't have it, something bad is going to happen to you or Honorine.
And I understand that. I do. But at the same time, I kind of get the feeling that you feel like if you do keep it with you, something differently bad is going to happen. Like maybe Granny deciding that your body is better served under her direction. Because we have a lot of
Does that
stories.
hit a nerve? Does that hit a nerve? Okay.
It's like Usura has a lot of stories about that too.
That's a thing.
Oh yeah, I
Not in Strega magic. That's why I've never heard of it.
I would kind of think, basic on what you've explained to me, that it might be easier with Striker magic. If you can meddle with somebody's fate, can't you just meddle with who they are?
Rosa would know. Player does not.
There's a specific ritual that Rosa knows that she's learned from the journal, that involves weaving a tapestry that would change somebody's arcana, which is like kind of the core of personality of somebody as far as Rosa has always understood. Um, like it lasts for like a month per success, but you could change somebody who is, like a devoted husband into an absolute coward, or
She would explain that. But
And that's based on just part of what you've read from this book. Remember, this Gran, and I'm going to keep calling her that because I'm not terribly fond of her at this moment, um, sank a whole fucking island with Strega magic.
my family always said it was because she was protecting our family.
Yeah, but protection can go too far. What if I locked you in a room and said, I need you to stay here forever because if you go out, something could happen to you? That's
True.
protection to me, but it's not what's in your best interest. Unless you want to stay in the room, like, no, I decorate it really nice. Bring you 3 meals a day? No, okay. Um, and while that's a more humorous example, it's still an example. There are men and women out there who would like nothing more than to have somebody, doing what they say at all times, where they want them at all times, in the interests of keeping them safe.
I, as much as it scares me, I know Honorine should also get a look at the journal. It's technically her grandmother too.
Yeah, but I noticed Honorine doesn't do what you do.
No, no. She has a much more, yeah, this is the best way she's gonna say it, powerful suitor helping her.
Yeah, I just get like, I like to think I'm not bad at things, but I'm not on that level of Eldritch. So, um,
Great.
you should definitely, if you haven't already, you should definitely warn her what you suspect has been
I
happening
will.
before she reads it.
No, and that was Rose's explanation.
Yep. So, well, I'm glad that you're going to set it aside for a while, and hopefully that helps because no, I don't want you to be anybody but you.
And I don't want you to be anyone but you, and I don't want whatever is happening to me to affect you.
Well, we're kind of dating now, so whatever happens to you is definitely going to affect me in some way, shape, or form. Which is why I'm trying to help you, move the direction in a safer and less psychotic rage inducing,
Island dropping.
island dropping, soul stealing, erasing from reality, whatever's going on there. And even seeing what I've seen, just describing that kind of hurts. But yeah, we definitely need to make sure that whatever choices you're making are the choices you're making.
Make sure I'm in charge and not a book.
Exactly. And I'll admit, I enjoy cuddling you. I don't want to cuddle your grandma.
That sounds so much worse.
Doesn't it? So
I'll, even if it terrifies me, I'm going to give Honorine the journal.
it's for the best.
Maybe her interesting suitor will know what to do with it.
Yes, they can start a new book club.
Maybe.
That night, I'm assuming that like Rosa and Honorane's schedules haven't matched and like the journal being handed over and whatnot. That night, Rosa has a dream. And in it, she finds herself occupying the body of her grandmother, but like young. Does that make sense? This is in like the 800s, I think. So it's like proper castles and medieval knights and stuff like that. She's got like the full medieval gown, one in pure white. And as she moves down the aisle holding a bouquet of flowers, um, she's you can feel the like way every single organ is just sort of like contracting and tightening with like her love for the person that she is walking down the aisle towards. Um, and you see her vision sort of like blurs for a moment, and she looks and she sees where the strega that is like standing in as her bridesmaid is actively spinning that love strand stronger and stronger and stronger. And she can see her doing it. But like the feeling of it is so powerful that she's sort of swept up in it. She's not angry about it. She's not angry about being manipulated. She's like drowning in the hormones of it. Does that make sense? And sort of giddy about it. Like her her niece is like making it so that she's going to be spending her wedding night with the man she loves more than anyone else. And as they get to the actual marriage, the priest is like going through vows and everything like that. And her grandmother is like nodding along to them, but is like uninterested. Does that make sense? Like she's hiding a deep contempt for the Vatican Church. And she's just sort of like drowning in like this very handsome man that's across from her and is clearly like a merchant prince or something the equivalent thereof. Like they weren't merchant princes at the time. He's got a crown on his head. And in and then things kind of like flash forward, and she's aware that she's in the first moments after like the room has been cleared from the consummation of the marriage. Like everything's over. She's just sort of like lying with him, adoring him. Um, and she reaches over into the bedside table and she draws a knife from it. Um, and she just kind of like the knife is like under the pillow. She's not like moving. And she like moves his hand up to her chest. Um, and like puts it over her breast. And then she puts the knife in and cuts through her own breast and through his hand in the same stroke, and then holds it there. Um, and you can see through her vision of magic, she is using the mingling of blood to ensorcel him. And she's using it so that she will always know where he is, and she will always know if he is like in danger or in pain, she will feel it as her own.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and as she's kind of like coming out of it, she can hear her grandmother's voice like, I am only teaching you how to protect those that you care for.
It's a weird way to chip your pet. I forgot that I was not muted. I am so sorry.
Clip that. Someone clip that right now. Right now.
That was an excellent interruption there. Um, but it's gonna, you know, yeah, I'm gonna leave Rosa like, she's certain she could figure out the ritual just from that moment, if she wanted to repeat it. Um, and we're gonna move back to Runa. Um, Runa is arriving early at the Bearhausen, because the Knights of the Rosencross have they let her know in advance that they were going to be getting there early, and everybody who has been there at this point is sort of like a long-term patient. Does that make sense? And there's few enough of them now that they feel comfortable moving them. But they wanted Runa to be there. Dietrich is there himself to oversee it, and they've got, like, there are only hand carts that can really move things effectively through the city, but they've got enough carts for everybody and enough knights to bear them. And Dietrich is there, and he's like, I was hoping you'd be willing to come with us in case there's any complications in our travel.
Of course.
He says, I would also like to show you around the chapter house. Some parts are off limits because there's ongoing training within them. And it's, like, it's early enough that, like, not a lot of people are out. There's a feeling in the air, as recently as it happened, the physical sight of, like, those who've been injured by the blast definitely kind of sets off an emotional response from the people that they pass. There's some lingering anger that has not really, like, found a place to express itself. When everything happened with Reinhardt, there was a place to put their anger. But right now it's in a middle place where, like, there are people saying it was not the last year, and others that are like, they claimed it.
Runa, knowing who did it and not knowing what she can do about it at this point, it's striking a chord with her, but she's keeping that to the back as of right now because she's more focused on taking care of the ones who are alive.
Yeah. And Dietrich is clearly, like, deeply thoughtful, and you've been by his side many times. Like, this is a guy who doesn't do anything lightly.
Mhm.
Does that make sense? He doesn't do anything without very serious consideration. Like, you think in the past few weeks that you've known him, he's made maybe 3 jokes, and, like, 2 of them didn't land. They were just sort of like,
But he tried.
yeah. But he and so, like, while he's very earnest, he's also deeply compassionate. And he the trip into the main area of Steinhold, that's where the chapter house is on the proper fortified island. It is relatively quiet. The members of the Rosencross are all, they're bearing their burdens and doing it as, like, stoically as they can. And you arrive finally at the chapter house itself. It is a building that could easily be a chapel or have a chapel in it. there's a stateliness to it. All of the stonework is old, and it's from like medieval era and has been updated to their purposes. There's a fairly large training area in the back that you can tell probably has like dummies and practice areas and that kind of thing. And you can every time you've walked by this place, there are members of the Rosencross that are training at it, whether they're like practicing their dueling or running through exercises or whatnot. It has a very militant feel, but militant in the sense of like disciplined and determined. The um, and Dietrich kind of like he points out like those doors lead to the training areas for the newest recruits. Most people are not allowed beyond the foyer, but you and the members of the council are welcome as guests who are allowed to view the building as a whole, except for the private training area. We only keep that area off limits because trainees will be bathing and changing, or they will expect a certain degree of privacy, and I think they are entitled to it.
Of course.
The and like the chapter house, like you've been in Freiburg long enough to kind of like hear like rumors about it. The Knights of the Rosencross are fairly secretive. And so because they're secretive, people make things up about what's going on inside.
Right.
Most of them are kind of lurid, of like, oh, they're having, secret nightly orgies or something. Some are, claiming that they worship Legion, and et cetera. But for the most part, everything you see kind of suggests that what you see on the outside is what you're getting on the inside. They do have like, the Bible of Thea, that's like prominently displayed outside of like a chapel. And as you pass by, you notice that like there are certain pages that are bookmarked in it with like the classic kind of style, like silk, quickly turned to them. And beyond that, the largest areas seem to be dedicated to classrooms, including one of them that when you go in has like a drawing up on its board of like human anatomy. And it looks like it's being very like painstakingly like filled out from a text that is also open in the classroom. And Dietrich uh, gestures her within. All of the people are being settled into the hospice. That's like where they have long-term care. They have like 12 beds, and 11 of them are now filled. So like this is definitely their capacity as far as taking care of people in the long term. But the and over the course of like just a few minutes, you can kind of get a sense of like what the life of most trainees is like, in that there's a lot of emphasis on like physical exercise. They're definitely learning how to fence. And this is the last area where they're being taught medicine. And those are like the three skills that they consider the most critical. And Dietrich, he turns the book around so you can see the detail and like structure of anatomy and stuff like that is incredibly detailed. Normally, to get this sort of insight, you'd have to be cutting open a corpse yourself.
Mhm.
The issue is that the entire book is in the Crescent language. But there's a lot that can be gleaned from like the illustrations alone.
Mhm.
He says the Crescents are remarkable scholars.
I can see that.
Says they have texts on mathematics and the nature of biology and chemistry that are they've clearly traveled different roads than we have.
I don't know that I've seen a diagram so detailed.
It was a surprise to me when I first saw it. There is a member of our order whose knowledge of such surgical matters eclipses even my own. He's made quite a collection of these texts and has sent me periodically books to peruse to improve my own knowledge. If you would like further training, you're welcome here at any time. And if you would like to consider wearing our tabard, you are welcome as well.
It would be an honor.
I understand that amongst your people, the markings that you have mark you as someone who practices the sorcery of Vestin.
Correct.
He says, we forbid the practice of sorcery as a knight.
I don't know that that is something I can agree to.
I understand. He says, I wanted to be forthright about it.
Up to this point, most of what I've been doing to help has been magic.
Says a point of clarification is that I am not opposed to the use of sorcery or the practice of it. The process of a knight becoming trained is more about a transformation. It is not just about learning how to fight and learning how to heal. It has long been stated that the purpose of alchemy was to discover how to transmute iron into gold. And that process is a metaphorical one in our view. The idea that the soul is a thing that can be transformed, that the base element of it can be elevated. And that is what we strive for. It is a spiritual endeavor. And we believe that sorcery corrupts that process. Not the possession of it, but the practice of it.
We do not share the same belief in that regard. I believe I am no different whether or not I practice sorcery.
I understand.
But I do understand where your mindset is coming from.
The belief is connected to the idea that anything attained without effort is lost in its value. If you were to wake up tomorrow able to lift 5 cows, you would still be very strong, but that strength would not have transformed your character. You would never have gone through what would be required to gain that strength. The focus of the will, the determination. Sorcery is a shortcut.
In some regards, but that doesn't acknowledge the fact that for some forms of sorcery, it does require learning. It does require working towards building your skill.
And I have certainly seen enough effort from those that I am acquainted with to believe so. It is not the policy of the Rosencross to discriminate against people by virtue of a thing that they are born with. And even your use of sorcery, while it is not my place to replace the church, I'm not an enforcer of its beliefs. But the path that I have been set on as far as seeking this self-mastery, the only course that I know requires the denial of sorcery, as well as the denial of many other things. He says, oaths of celibacy are something else that we are upfront about. He says, it is about vows that are taken and vows that are pursued. And even if you are not interested in becoming a knight, I want you to know that I count you friend, and I have spoken to the members of the order, and they will count you as one also. They have seen the work that you have done tirelessly for those who are in need of aid.
I don't believe becoming a knight is in my best interest at this current point. However, I would love to keep learning from you.
And I would love to continue to teach you.
I believe we're now on the same page.
I understand that you also had some practice with forging and blacksmithing.
Yes.
There are methods which I owe to the order, which I could not pass on to you, but I could happily continue to instruct you in that as well. There are times where curious parts of sciences cross over. He says, almost as if all things are interconnected.
That is true. I am definitely always eager to learn and to improve my skills. I'm just realizing how autistic Runa sounds, and that's character bleed right there. That's character bleed. Oh boy.
We've labored over injured bodies together for some time. He says, I would like to invite you to a meal. It's a simple thing. We don't eat very lavishly here, but I would love to share my story, and I would love to hear yours as to how you came to be here and involved in the council. And
Sure.
it is like he is not lying about like they're drinking water that's been boiled, you know what I'm saying, and like eating bread, and like there's some additional things which are like just enough to get like the necessary nutrients as far as like meat and cheese, but it is not lavish. They are definitely like along the lines of like oaths of poverty. Does that make sense? And he's happy to share his own story. Like he definitely feels that like becoming the master knight of this chapter house was more about them trying to get him out of the field because he was such a good blacksmith. And they were like worried they would lose him, and so they promoted him early. But he's like worked twice as hard as anybody else to be worthy of the title because of that perception for himself. And just over the course of the conversation, you kind of have the impression that like they just thought he was worthy of it sooner than anybody else. Like the prospect of losing like the nice swords that he makes like certainly affected the decision, but it didn't push them to promote him to it before he was ready.
Right.
Because he has the character of somebody that you would like trust to run an organization like this and do it in earnest faith. What is she telling him about herself and like how she got to be here? Like how far back is she going and what is she detailing?
She doesn't know that it's safe to detail that she was part of the crew on the Revenge, and like specifically detailing her mother because her mother is wanted in a lot of places. But she'd be a bit more vague about those details. Be like, I spent a lot of my previous life on a ship, and I was captured and brought in through slave trades and got out.
That is a trade here in the city that we have wanted to stamp out for some time. Unfortunately, by the time real information comes to us about the location of slavers or auctions, it is long gone.
Well, I know where they have been. But after I got out, I was sought out and invited to be in attendance with Wilma Probst, and that's where the council started. And it's been pretty much event after event since.
It has been tumultuous here in the city.
Indeed.
He's thoughtful for a moment. And I know that there is some talk in the city about whether Logan will be changing things, whether it will become more like a traditional city, one with a number of laws, all enforced, taxes, the many things that have served to make Freework unique. And I also know that there is, after the attack in the market, a fear and uncertainty that has never gripped the city before. The Knights have struggled to do their best for the city and for those outside of it for as long as we have been here. And I would be lying if I said I did not worry about whatever changes Logan planned to make.
Change isn't always bad.
No, but I do find that when one thing is changed, something else also changes that is not predicted. There is not always the direct consequence one might expect. And that is not to say that I'm against more law and more order, the collection of taxes and the like. I am concerned that as Logan gains power, there'll be those struggling to carve out power beneath him.
I don't believe there's much that we can do about that until we see that problem arise.
I agree. I have no specific advice that I'm offering or anything beyond that. I think it's important to consider carefully the advice that is given and the effects that it will have. It's impossible to anticipate every possible outcome. And
Indeed.
he fell silent.
Hmm?
He fell silent because he realized he was like about to interrupt you. So
There's no possible way one can predict another's actions. It's about being adaptable. That's all we can do.
he nods. He says, what I'm getting at is a great deal has happened in the last few weeks, which has been a reaction to one thing after another after another. But for a future to be chartered in the city, for change to be meaningful, it is going to be something that is proactively worked towards. It is not going to be a change that's a reaction, but a deliberate choice. And that is not something that Trog did. Everything he did was a reaction. Now Logan and the council have the opportunity to make choices, and those choices will be distinct from what has happened so far. That is what I'm driving at.
Understood.
I have not invited you here to try to curry favor with the council or to gain influence with you. I've invited you here because you are compassionate, and I genuinely wanted to make you an offer to the Knights of the Rose and Cross. And also that you would do so with your eyes open as to what that would entail.
I appreciate that.
every time that the Knights of the Rosary Cross have been called upon by your group, it has been for a very worthy cause, one that I have been proud to be part of. And I would be happy to keep that association with you and yours. But I do find myself concerned for the future.
That I understand. I can assure you on behalf of the council that we will at least be doing our very best to consider what is best for everyone or the vast majority.
It is one of the things that I have appreciated about you and yours. Most in positions of power, not just in Freebird, but around every nation that I have traveled through, most seem interested in representing themselves and those that they know. They are not considering themselves beholden to everyone, but beholden to their own class, their own nationality, their own family. And there seems to be a larger concern for well-being that is written through the council that is unique.
Change needs to start somewhere.
He agrees. Well, I had hoped I would be able to persuade you into taking your vows, but I understand your reasons for not doing so.
It is unfortunate that things did not work out.
The offer is open, should you change your mind.
Noted.
And I'm going to close out for there. We're just a little bit over. And we are going to have another downtime session that will be dealing with some of the other remaining things. I think we got through everybody and kind of some of the things they had to bring to the table.
Why are you putting off the journal, Siosa?
I wasn't putting off the journal.
Why are you putting off the journal? It's a personal affront.
Well, this session I put it off because we were running low on time. And I feel like it's not going to be a thing that you want to do when you're low on time.
Targeted
Evil book.
persecution.
Can I get 2 nominations for role-playing?
Rosa and Runa, I think this time. Well, no, actually, Rosa and Honorine. I think Honorine had that really interesting. Oh my God, this guy who's been giving me nightmares forever. He's here and he's kind of pathetic now. I'm not afraid of him.
Already on. He was already on the path to pathetic by the time you'd arrived in Freeburg.
Yep. Rosa squeezing out that, oh God, grand.
I would agree on the Rosa one, and
That's
I
right.
appreciate the nomination.
I would agree on the honorine one.
I'm good with those 2 as nominations. I'm going to do 3 experience for tonight, plus the bonuses, plus drama dice if you have them. Are you just like 1 shy or something? Gold.
No, I just only get 3 for tonight.
Yeah, he used his drama dice for.
Yeah, I
his
used both
rolls.
my dice
Okay.
for the important things, but it's worth it.
And I will adjust that Freeburg stuff. A lot of the like map making changes and stuff like that they're fairly time intensive, and I've been flying out Monday morning at like 7 a.m. and coming back at like 11 at night. So my Saturday has been like, I'm playing Sims.
That's fair.
In between sleep.
That's very
Totally
fair.
fair.
Yeah.
And I've got like 3 more weeks of that kind of intense schedule, so it's going to be like lighter sessions until then.
Yeah. That's
So
fine.
3 more
More-
projected weeks. It could go longer.
More RP
Gotta-
head stuff is always fun.
Oh gosh.
Meow.
Session is over. Done.
Oh, the meows is there. Oh my gosh.
This is the first time I think she's actually like wandered in there during a
In
session.
the
Moving in the
shadows.
back of her head.
Hmm.
She's supervising.
But let me close this out. So thank you for everyone watching us on YouTube or live on Twitch. Audience participation always means the world to us. And if you're on YouTube, smash the like, hit the subscribe, make a comment in the down below. Here at Dirty 20, we always sign out with the same call to action. Be nice, be kind when you have the spoons, but even when you're not, be nice. Be nice to strangers, be nice to family, be nice to your loved ones, and be nice to yourself. Thank you for coming on this journey with us, and good night.
Good night.
Night,
Good night.
y'all.